it's really, really helpful to have this opportunity, because once you become a certified trainer, we can put you in front of soccer, baseball, basketball, Quidditch, whatever you might be in front of. So it really, a lot of the trainers have said this is the only way before they start going out for the first time to get other perspective from different sports. So that's why I encourage you to go and go onto the Google discussion questions and read other people's answers, because it really gives you fuel when you're presenting a workshop. If you have a group of basketball coaches and someone says, well, what do you mean about, what's an effort goal in basketball? You might not be familiar, but you might say, you know what, here's a great example for you.
That's good. So how did you get into it? I mean, I've read your bio. Thank you for sending that out. But I mean, how did you get into it? Was it something you consciously decided, I want to get involved with PCA, or was it something that you sort of fell into, or what?
Yeah, it was actually by accident. I was coaching youth lacrosse at the time, and I was actually coaching high school at the time as well, but I was asked to come to a PCA talk as a parent for my daughter when she was, 9 years old, really, really young. And I went to the workshop. It was a 30-minute parent workshop. Hi, Ryan. How are you?
Hey, I'm good, Kelly. How are you doing?
Good.
Hey, Ryan, Ivan.
Hey, Ivan.
Introduce yourself real quick so you guys know who each other are, and then I'll continue.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about yourself.
My name's Ivan Jackson. I work for the soccer club in Colorado, just outside Denver.
Got it. Good to meet you.
Time now, right, Ivan?
Sorry?
Is that what you do full time now? You run the soccer club?
Yeah, I'm the executive director of the soccer club there. I've been in youth soccer for ever since I've been in the States. And I've been in, as you saw, multiple different areas of soccer, from coaching to DOC, but now I'm the executive director there, and I run the club, and passionately involved with coaching. What I really like coaching now is parents and coaches as much as I enjoy coaching the kids, because I've seen so many poor examples of what happens.
Yeah, absolutely. And how about you, Ryan? Do you want to fill Ivan in here a little bit?
Absolutely, and good to meet you guys. And sorry I'm a little late. Wasn't testing the system before we got started, but I'm here now. And so I am a senior consultant at Deloitte and do consulting for them. But on the PCA and the coaching front, I'm part of the associate board here in Minnesota, and also coach baseball at the high school, Legion, and college levels. And so I've gotten involved over the past few years and really enjoyed my experiences thus far.
Great, thank you. So what we were just talking about before you got on, I was saying that this Google Hangouts and the different ways that you can discuss some of the discussion questions, and you get to see everyone's answers. It's really for you guys to be able to get different sport-specific examples, because there's no better way to prepare yourself for being in front of different types of coaches than to hear examples from other sports and other people. And we get some very, very high-level coaches that want to be trainers, which is excellent. But a lot of times it's funny, because we talk about kids, specializing in a sport too young. We've got so many people that specialize in a sport too old, and then you're in front of a different sport. I've had coaches trainers that have called me, because my background is in lacrosse, have called me 2 days before the workshop and said, give me some terminology, because I don't even know what some of these positions are called, and I don't want to look like an idiot in front of this audience. So it's really a nice way for you guys to pick each other's brains. And as Ivan was saying, he was just reading the bio of someone that was in international gymnastics. And I just commented, because I think his name's Marcus, and he was a trampoline, I think it said, like World Cup trampoline.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I just got to watch that for the first time this summer, and I was like, this is amazing. They're jumping like 30 feet up in the air. It's awesome. So I'm excited.
That's a little crazy, if you ask me, Kelly, actually.
that too, but looked like fun to me. So I really do encourage you to try to make it as interactive as possible. A lot of times when people post an answer to something, a lot of times, especially with the bios, it's more of, oh my gosh, I went to that college too, or I know this person, or do you know that person? But still, any way we can connect, it's really helpful to make you feel like a group, a cohesive group. And then these Hangouts are an opportunity to do it live. So hopefully, we usually get between like 10 and 15 people on each Hangout, and I will have 3 different times offered. So it's, most people get into a routine like 12 o'clock on a Tuesday is good for me. That works. But then there's other people that, can't do during the day and they're at night. So I always record them if you ever get a chance and you weren't able to get on that week, or you only had 3 or 4 people on your Hangout that week. You can always go back and watch the recorded version to get to know. I'm a very visual person. I like to put names with faces. So it's always helpful as well.
Cool. Thank you.
So I was filling Ivan in. He was asking me how I got involved. So I was a high school lacrosse coach at the time, and my daughter was 8 years old, and I was asked to go to a parent workshop. And I'd never heard of Positive Coaching Alliance before. This was back in 2009. And it was only a 30-minute parent workshop. And when the PCA trainer was finished, I walked up to him and just shook his hand, and I said, I think it's amazing what you're doing. I think this is such an important message, and I'm so glad that there's an organization out here doing it. And he said, so what's your background? And I kind of filled him in. I said, I played 3 sports in high school. I played 2 Division I sports in college, and I coached basketball in high school and basketball at the college level and lacrosse. And I filled him in on my whole resume, and I said, I'm a teacher. I've been teaching elementary school for 9 years, and right now I've stopped because I just had my 3rd child. And he was like, oh, are you available in the evenings? Are you available on the weekends? At the time, he drove 2.5 hours to do a workshop in my hometown for 30 minutes. So he said, wow, we really need female trainers. We really need people that have experience. So I called the next day to Eric Eisendrath, who is the lead trainer up in New England, and said, hey, my name's Kelly. I'm interested in becoming a trainer. And he said, great, when can you start? So I sort of took the crash course in training. And I was just a workshop facilitator from 2009 to 2014, and I loved it. I loved going all over the place and just sharing this message. Luckily for me, I had flexibility during the day, so I did a ton of athlete workshops, which were my favorite anyway. I love talking to the high school kids, and a lot of trainers aren't as comfortable with the high school kids, surprisingly. But that's usually a workshop that's tough to fill because it's during the day, and a lot of people have jobs during the day and they can't do it. So I started doing that.
So there's a question for you then, Kelly. I mean, obviously I've seen where, you have chapters throughout the country. What is precluding PCA from having a chapter in every state or every region?
Personnel and finances, to be completely blunt. We have 16 chapters right now, and we're adding an average about 2 or 3 a year right now. Mm-hmm. Each chapter has to have a seed funding to start. Kind of a satellite office plopped into your hometown. It usually takes between $300,000 $400,000 to start an office, and that includes a chapter executive director, which is the head of the whole office, and then a partnership manager, which is the salesperson. Mm-hmm. Most offices right now also have a partner support manager, which is the person that is really the liaison between the partners after the workshop, post-workshop, following up on their needs. And then there's a board. So I guess, Ryan, I assume that's what you are on. You're on the board for Minnesota?
Yeah, so I'm on the associate board since early 2016, and I guess we've just been supporting the chapter, supporting the director, and working on some different things. It's been really awesome.
Yeah, and I didn't know there even were associate board members. I thought it was just board or no board. So.
Yeah, and I don't know if that's the model that all the chapters have, but I know for sure Deborah, who's been our executive director, has utilized that, and kind of an opportunity for some younger folks to get more involved and help spread the word and pick up the slack on, where I think the board, they have a lot of really good ideas and things like that, but it's hard. Everybody has their day job and things like that, and actually driving action on the initiatives that we start. So it's been pretty cool.
Yeah, that's great. Deborah is on the ball. She runs a very tight ship over there. Now she's actually been promoted to the director of field operations, so she's not even in Minnesota anymore. But yeah, and it's funny because I get to deal with every chapter. So I have different answers sometimes for different chapters as to the policy and the way the chapter is run. Our San Francisco Bay Area chapter is one of our largest, and I think Minnesota is a close second in terms of partnerships that they have and number of workshops that they do. So that's really all it is. I would love to see a chapter in every city, but my job in new trainer development is it's sort of a chicken and the egg kind of a problem because, like, for example, right now we're starting a chapter in Austin, Central Texas. And there's a theory that should we train a whole bunch of trainers so that when the chapter is launched, they're ready to go, or do we just train a few right now and then as the chapter is launched, then train more? So we've tried a couple different scenarios in a couple different places. It's hard to train trainers so that they're ready to go and then say, okay, but there are no workshops for you to practice. So the Seattle model we kind of did like a crash course. basic training. We did like a 2 long, intense weekend course of training trainers up, and then a lot of them sat for a long time because there weren't a lot of workshops in the area. So in Austin, what we're trying to do is just keep a few, maybe 2 or 3 that just went through our last course in Austin, Texas, and now the chapter is going to be launched within the next 2 months, and then they're going to, take off. So it's a model that we're working on.
And what determines you start a chapter? I mean, I understand finance is an issue, but if you've got your $250,000, $300,000, what makes you decide, well, we're going to go to Austin, or we're going to go to Minnesota, or we're going to go to Kentucky or Florida or whatever else it might be?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I think there's actually different answers to that. Like for example, the Cleveland office, Mark Shapiro was the owner of the Cleveland Indians, and he said, we need PCA here because my kids are in elementary school and sports are a mess. So here's a check for $400,000. Start a PCA.
Okay, well that's a no-brainer one, Kelly. Okay.
Someone hands you a check for $400,000. We say, okay, we'll make it happen. But a lot of times it's more of a needs base. We know what cities in the country, the largest cities are usually the ones that you go after first. A lot of it has to do with board members. Possibly a board member from Colorado would say, yeah, and I have a good friend who is very interested in PCA in Atlanta. So let's get that going in Atlanta. It really takes people. It takes finances. It takes resources. I'm in Philadelphia. We've never had a chapter, and I'm pushing. I'm trying to push all that I can. But it's more now. We have a chapter we just launched in New York City. The Washington D.C. chapter is coming, so I'm thinking Philadelphia is going to be right in the middle. So there are some chapters on the horizon that, like Philadelphia does. It's its own area. We do plenty of workshops. We do just as many workshops as other places, but we don't actually have a local office. So we report to the national office instead of our local Philadelphia office. So we don't have a board. But that's usually what happens. We have a lot of areas. They're called out-of-territory areas. Mm-hmm. Nashville is one. Seattle,
you say Nashville?
Nashville, Tennessee. Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Yeah, we do lots of workshops there, and we don't have a chapter there yet. St. Louis is another one that there's a lot of action going on there, but not quite a chapter yet.
Okay.
So, yeah, it's a nonprofit, so it's really, the business model is different than most people that are involved with business because it kind of has to go, it's powered by people that are willing to donate and put in the time and put in the energy to do it. It doesn't necessarily have this perfect business model that we just plant in one city for this huge launch. So,
that's true. Having worked with non-profits for the last 20 years, I know exactly what you're talking about there. It's not easy just to suddenly use the corporate policy, corporate USA, and put it in place. So,
right. And a lot of the people that work for PCA have come from the corporate model. I, for one, have come from the public school model. So it's not quite like that either. It's sort of somewhere in the middle. But it's a nice marriage of a whole lot of different heads coming together and a whole lot of different worlds. But we're all out for the same mission, and it seems to be, it's growing by leaps and bounds. So I was hired in 2014 because I have an education background and because I love what I do, to start some way to train more trainers quicker and better. The content was there, the trainers knew the content, but it was how to get that content out to the participants in the audience and keep them engaged and keep them excited and actually change behavior. Because so many of us as coaches have been to lectures and clinics and all-day certifications, but we leave and go, I might have picked up 1 or 2 drills. Maybe I'll try that next season. But this is a culture change, and this is a big shift for a lot of people. So I always tell coaches it's not just being a great coach that makes you a good PCA trainer. It's can you deliver a message that's going to have people question the way they coach and do more of the good and cut back on the bad. And a lot of times the coaches that we're talking to have been coaching for 20, 30 years sometimes. And they say, I don't know if I buy this. I'm a screamer. I'm a yeller. I've got 5 state banners up on my wall. What are you going to teach me that I don't already know? Yeah. So it's not the simplest thing in the world, but it's so rewarding. And I just love it. And it's great I get to meet people from all over the world, literally all over the world.
Do you have metrics that you can actually measure success?
Well, I don't know if you got a chance when you applied. There is a point questionnaire that says, how well do you think you would do as a PCA trainer? And I just asked a few weeks ago because I had a person that applied to be a PCA trainer, and he said, I scored very low on that, but I really want to do this. And I said, passion is one thing, but that questionnaire is set up that it kind of fields the type of questions that you get at workshops and the type of experience that coaches are looking for. So if you were going to be talking in front of a group of 30 high school coaches, all different sports, all different areas, and you said, well, I've never coached high school, I've never coached youth, I'm a strength and agility trainer, I played one sport in high school, never played college sports, but I really believe in the mission.
Yeah.
I don't know that you're going to have the credibility that someone else is going to have, that has the, you need to walk the walk before you can talk the talk. And so it's hard for me to say, I just don't think you have what it takes, but it comes down to our experience in having trainers out there and trainers that people will, I hate to say respect right off the bat, but there is something about credibility when somebody walks into the room that you've been there and you've coached and you've seen all levels and you've seen all things. And we actually also, I always try to mention that we're not the most politically correct organization, in that if you apply, like let's say Ivan, you apply to do a girls volleyball workshop at an all-girls high school, and Ryan here has, he had, or let's say Ryan was a female and she applied to, do a workshop, she would get it over you.
Yeah,
so we try to match the trainers to their level of expertise. I've had some trainers have said, I've applied 3 times to do this girls basketball workshop. And I'll say, okay, well, first of all, you've never coached or played basketball. You've never coached girls. You're a male, and all you've done is coach football. So we kind of, we're trying to match the workshop to the trainer. But sometimes we have to send you out. We have a college basketball coach in Dallas who just did a cheerleading workshop the other day. And he said, I have to say, I know more about cheerleading from watching cheerleaders on the side of my games than I thought I did.
I was going to say, don't send me to that, or I was thinking about don't send me to the gymnastic trampoline one because I know nothing about it.
But you will. It's all the same. It's all the same principles, and you really have to stretch yourself. And I've done like track and cross country workshops where you think, like a wrestling coach in Minnesota, actually, he was sent to do a track and cross country workshop, and he said, it's a different sport. You can't use the same examples that you would. But it's all the same principles, and that's where you really have to rely on drawing things out of the audience. We want you to be the expert, but you don't have to be the be-all, end-all, know-it-all. And I've gone into workshops before, and I've said, okay, obviously I've never played tackle football, so I'm going to give you a principle, I'm going to give you a tool, and I want you to give me the skill in football that you would use. And I don't lose credibility in doing that. I think sometimes they appreciate it.
I was going to say, it's better to be honest like that rather than trying to make out that you know something about it when you probably don't. So, yeah.
Right. I could relate to playing on 95-degree turf in August, preseason, sweating, and trying to get my team motivated. That's the kind of stuff, okay, I can relate to you as coaches trying to motivate kids when they're hot and they're tired, and it's, So, yeah. That's what we always say, too. Being yourself and being honest with who you are and what your background is so much better than trying to pretend you're somebody that you're not. Yeah. So anyway, I'm doing a lot of talking. What other questions do you guys have? You both got on the Hangout well. This is as simple as it is. I send you the link and you hop right on. The only thing that I ask is when we have a group of about 15 people on here that you put your screen on mute, because sometimes we've got dogs barking and kids crying, and the way that Hangouts work is anytime someone speaks, you become large on the screen, and everybody else is, small. So this is the way I do it. And then the other thing that I'll do, just to show you, oops, I don't have it up. I was going to say, I'll have the PowerPoint also pulled up, and I'm going to show you guys on the first Hangout how to have your PowerPoint running at the same time as your Hangout so that you can see the PowerPoint as we go through it. I'll do a screen share a lot of the time, so I'll pull it up. Let me show you how I pull it up here. So I will pull it up. If I want to show you something on the PowerPoint, I will pull it up like this, and then you'll be able to see what part of the PowerPoint I'm on. So I might explain, this is what we're doing, and go through the slideshow like this, and I can go backwards and forwards and keep you right on task on where we are. And then if I want to do an activity, and I'll say, okay, now what I want you to do is turn to a partner. And so I sort of flip back and forth like that through the Hangout so that you keep in line with where we are in the PowerPoint. But you're welcome to have it up on your end too if you want to go through it that way.
That's good.
Yeah.
What do you ultimately want to get out of these Hangouts? Is there something specifically you have set each week, or is it more of a general conversation?
No, I definitely have goals. What I do is each week I go through a different principle of the workshop.
Okay.
So this is just to, meet and greet kind of a thing. Next week we're going to talk about the introduction to the workshop, which is one of the most crucial parts of the workshop, the first 15 minutes, and how to establish your credibility and get the audience engaged and help them figure out who you are, and just set the tone for the whole workshop and the goals of the workshop. So one of the things that's I love but is challenging about what I do is that we have 150 some trainers, and they do their introduction to the workshop 150 different ways. So I share how I do the workshop, but I also kind of bring in ideas that other people have. I don't obviously expect all of you to do workshops the way that I do. I have a different energy and a different style, and we've got lots of different styles out there. So I'll give you, the basic overall. This is how we want to start the workshop. This is our goal of the beginning of the workshop, and then I want to hear your ideas. So usually for the Hangouts, I'll model the first half an hour of the Hangout. I'll model how I do it, and I will pretend that you are my audience, and I'll run it just like I would a regular workshop. And then the second half hour, I ask you for your ideas, or what have you seen, or what have you liked, or what turned you off in a workshop right away, or what is an idea that you have on how to get the audience talking to each other within the first 5 minutes of the workshop. So it's really kind of a idea share for the last half, and I've had other people that have said, I have a story, I'm not really sure if it fits in, do you mind if I pitch it? And the Google Hangout will be an opportunity for this person to get up and say, you know what, okay, I had a kid and he did this on the baseball field, and do you think that story would work with this principle, things like that.
Okay.
Yeah, the first Hangout is a lot more of me and a lot less of you, because if you see next week, the first time we get on the Hangout, I always tell people, try to get on. I encourage everybody to try it at least today, so thank you guys for doing this, just to get your settings right.
Yeah.
It's funny, the first time we do a Hangout, my phone is like buzzing off the hook as we're starting. People going, I can't connect. Right?
Yeah.
This is why
that's what I did. That's what I did to you yesterday, Kelly. I was thinking I should have received something. What am I doing wrong? So.
Yeah. No, it's good. It's all good. And I always say, like, once a Hangout starts, texting is the only way you're going to be able to reach me. But so the first one's a little bumpy to get started, and people, say I can't hear, I don't have sound, and whatever it is. So, but that's how they go. And then the third week when we do Elm Tree of Mastery, I actually will just send you a recording of the Hangout, or I may actually do just one live Hangout, and then you will have an opportunity to practice. So Ruben Nieves and myself will set up appointment times that you sign up for, and you would do a 10-minute demonstration of how you would do the Elm Tree of Mastery principle. So that's a lot of fun, because it's early on in the course, and we get a chance to see some of your ideas and how you would do it. So, and then week 4 and 5 are the last 2 principles, and week 6 is a practice. So you get to practice the final exam, if you want to call it that, for this course is you demonstrating 20 minutes of a workshop. So you can either do the introduction piece, or you can do the first principle, second principle, or third principle. So week 6, I let you do a practice run, just to figure out, how do you do this and on a Hangout. Some people say, oh, it's so hard in front of my computer to make this realistic, and we all get that. But I'm not going to fly to Denver and Minnesota to sit there and have you do it in front of me. So this is the best we have for now. And then so to pass this course, to go on to become an associate trainer, you do a final. And the final is where you would do it in front of, usually I would get some board members or the chapter executive director, some staff from your local office to either join us in the Hangout, or again, in Minnesota, Deborah always gets a live audience in her office, and you get to do your final in front of a live audience, which is my perfect world. If I could get everyone to do that, it would be great. But they don't all do that. And then we send you out to a workshop. Your first time out, we usually have you just do one principle of a live workshop with a mentor trainer, and we see how that goes. I've had a lot of people in this last course that have only had to go out once, and then they become certified and they come out and do it on their own. But average, usually most people go out at least 2 or 3 times. They might do one principle first. Second time out, they do 2 or 3 principles, and then we have a final certification workshop, is where you do the workshop from beginning to end. But we have a PCA trainer there with you. Just, a lot of times it's just to hook up the PowerPoint, hook up the projector, get the speakers set up, that type of thing.
Good, I like that.
Yep. So we try to support you as much as we can, and then kick you out on your own to do it.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
So any other questions for me?
I don't think so. So for next week, when we have the hangout next week, do we need, I mean, I've already done the reading. I saw the video that you sent yesterday. Is there anything else we need to prepare for? Is it sort of more sit down there and you'll go through the first sort of the introductory part of the program? Yeah.
That's it, pretty much. And the reason that, here's the other thing too that we just started this time, and I'm going to leave this as an option for any of you. This course, when I developed this course, I had in mind that everyone had a life and that everybody had, you know, other responsibilities. So years before I started this, the way that we used to train trainers was to fly to Denver and say, okay, Ivan, I need you to give up 2 weekends, a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and we do training for, you know, Friday night, all day Saturday, all day Sunday. Come out to this hotel somewhere. We'll do this full intense training, and then by Sunday, hopefully you'll be trained and be ready to be an associate trainer. Prior to that, we need you to watch this video, read the book, you know, all this stuff. What we were finding was we'd have 10 people that give up a full weekend, and we would certify 2 or 3 that were ready to go. So when I started, I said those numbers are not good for me. The teacher in me was like, I don't think it's great to get 10 people to give up a whole weekend and only certify 2. So what we kind of figured out was if we spread it out over 7 weeks, it gives people a chance to digest it in small chunks and fit it into your schedule, and you can get out to a workshop. And I've had people in this course even say, you know, during the e-tank week, I was filling up my kids' emotional tanks left and right. Like, you wouldn't believe how happy my wife was. Every time I walked in, I'd fill up her emotional tank, you know. So it gives you a chance to think about, and I encourage you to do that. Think about mastery during your week when we're doing Elm Tree of Mastery. Think about, you know, what's not motivating your, you know, one of your coworkers or your boss or whatever, you know, or your child, and think about, you know, effort goals for your kids. You know, oh, I really love the way you picked up those shoes. That was fantastic. You really worked hard at cleaning up your room, you know, whatever it is. But it gives you a chance to let each principal digest rather than just throwing it all at you. That being said, we did start an independent study course this time because, for example, out in Los Angeles, they have like 84 workshops coming up in the next month and 4 trainers. So, yes. So Alan Burkus is the chapter executive director in LA, and he said, I can't wait 7 weeks. I need people like tomorrow. So what I did was I took the syllabus, which you'll get next week. I took the syllabus for this course and made it an independent study. So if you want to move along faster, they're just watching recordings of the Hangouts. It's all the same information, all the same workload, but they're just doing it at a quicker pace so that they can get through it faster. So if that's something that any of you throughout the course feel like, you know what, I've got time right now, I'm off season, you know, maybe it's, I've had a lot of people through this course that are retired and they're like, I don't want to wait 7 weeks, I need to do this. That's going to be an option. I can give you the independent study syllabus, and then you can, you know, move along at your own pace. The only thing you miss out on is the live interaction with the other people in the course. But so throwing that out there.
Cool. Yeah, I assume you could do both.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, you could do the Hangouts on a weekly basis, but also do the independent study basis as well.
Yeah, it's just like you might be on Honoring the Game, and we're still back on, you know, the Elm Tree of Mastery or whatever it is. But yeah, and then both people, we have 2 people right now doing the independent study, both from the Los Angeles area. And the one gentleman yesterday said, I'd like to be in a live Hangout. Like, I like your recordings, but I'd like to be able to actually talk to people. So I've invited him to jump in as well. So, but as I said, this is the first that we're doing this. So we're going to work all the bugs out for that too.
That'll be cool. And what's your success rate when people go through the 7-week program rather than the weekend program? Interesting
that you say that. So we just talked about this on our staff call. So I have had 64 trainers. I have to find the numbers, but it was 64 trainers have gone through the course, and we have certified 52. So that's, I mean, certified meaning associate trainers or certified trainers. Now we still have people that have gone through the last course that aren't quite certified yet. They're still in the associate trainer, you know, flock. But considered certified meaning they're ready to go out and do workshops. And the other 12 have been people that have just either we've said to them at the end of the course, you're not quite strong enough for us to send you out. We appreciate or just, you know, honestly, the biggest issue that we have in telling trainers that they're not ready, and I don't want you to take this the wrong way, but it's arrogance. It's trainers coming in thinking they've got all the answers, and they just, for some reason, when they go to do their workshops, it's like, I can't listen to this person for 2 hours. That, you know, there's just something about it. Overconfidence, I would say, not that humility that we're all in this together and we're gonna get through this. that's been probably the biggest downside of telling people after they've gone through the course that, you know, we just don't feel that you're ready to be a trainer right now, or we don't feel it's a good fit for you.
Yeah.
So that the percentages have been very high, and I don't pat myself on the back and say, oh, I can make anybody into a great trainer. I mean, I can give you all the ideas in the world, and it's really up to you. It's really, as much as you put into it, is as great as it's going to be when it comes out. And we have a new lead trainer, Joe Tarasi. He's actually in the middle of the country. He's in Chicago, and he was trying to crunch train people for the last year and a half before we did this independent study course, because people needed to be trained really quickly. And so then he got to observe, you know, maybe 5 or 6 trainers in the Texas area, in Dallas and Houston and Austin. And he said, wow, he said, it's really surprising to me the difference in someone that's been trained through your course and someone that's just been like speed trained. He said, it's really good to see. So that was good for me to hear, that, you know, sometimes taking things slower, at a slower pace, and really digesting it can help bring out stories and bring out examples that, you know, the whole week you have to think about honoring the game. Then you have an opportunity to really not just go, okay, I need 5 stories right now by tomorrow. It's, you know, wow, I get to really think about this and look at the news and look at social media and pull in some things from oh my gosh, I totally forgot about what happened when I was in 9th grade, and, you know, things like that. So it was good to hear that he saw the difference between the ones that had gone through the course and the ones that had not.
That's going to feel good.
Yeah, it did. I felt good. All right. So I don't want to hold you guys. I usually try to finish the Hangouts at least 5 minutes early, so that if anybody does have any extra questions at the end. I mean, if you guys have any more questions, I'm not trying to shuffle you off, but I just really appreciate you taking the time to jump on, and it's good to meet you, and now I will not forget you because I have faces and names together.
I appreciate the time very much, Kelly. Thank you.
Yep.
Ron, it's good to meet you. I look forward to learning a lot more about baseball and what you do in Minnesota. So I appreciate you coming on as well. And I guess we'll see you same time next week.
Yeah, I'm gonna give the times. The times are gonna be, they might be slightly different every week because I actually do workshops also. So sometimes I have a Google Hangout scheduled for 7 o'clock on a Tuesday night, and I'm like the 27th, I'm going to be doing a workshop for a conference. So I'm going to try to keep it the same. I'm going to try to do Tuesday evenings. Thursday afternoons are going to be the set ones. Tuesday evening, 7 o'clock my time. Thursday afternoon, always noon. That's been the Google Hangout time that works. And then Ruben is actually offered graciously to do a Pacific time evening, because we've got a lot of people that work full-time on the West Coast, and I don't really feel like staying up till 10 p.m. my time to do a Hangout. So he's going to do a 7 p.m. Pacific time, 10 p.m. Eastern time Hangout. I believe he's going to do Thursday nights. So right now, that's the schedule.
But you are going to still have one on the Thursday during the day, because
Yeah.
in the evening I'm typically out in the fields coaching or observing coaches. So
Thursday at 12 o'clock will be Thursday 12 o'clock, and Tuesday 7 p.m. will be my 2 that I'm going to try to stick consistently with, except for, as I said, except for that one date that I'm going to be doing a workshop. But
okay.
yeah, and I'm still checking with Ruben to see what night works for him the best. We actually have 2 trainers in Hawaii as well. So they're 6 hours behind me, sometimes 7 hours behind me. So I had a woman one time that woke up at 3 o'clock in the morning to join a Hangout, and I said that was really not necessary.
Dedication. I hope you passed.
It's her final demonstration, and I said, "Wait a minute, what are you doing?" And I looked at the clock, and I said, "It's 3 o'clock in the morning." And she said, "I know. I just couldn't sleep, so I thought this would be a good time to get on." I'm like, "Oh my god!" So yes, we don't need you to do that, but. So I will let you know those times, and I'm going to get the syllabus out to you. I wanted to let the email dust settle before I send you another one. So I'm going to get the syllabus out to you this week as well, so you'll have that.
Great. I really appreciate it, Kelly. Thank you very much.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Good to meet you.
Great meeting both of you. Looking forward to next week.
Yep. Take care. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye.